What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? Here is my favorite self-burn. In high school math class, a nice, nerdy guy named Richard, a jerk whose name I forget, let us call him Jerk. Jerk keeps calling Richard Dick. Like, hey, Dick, did you get the answer to 4? Richard keeps calmly saying it is Richard. Finally the teacher says, Richard, what do you prefer to be called? Richard says, I prefer Richard. Jerk says, well, I prefer Dick. After a few seconds of uproarious laughter from the rest of the class, Jerk realized what he said and sunk as far down in his seat as possible and never bugged Richard again. We were teenagers in the 80s, so this was the height of hilarity. I had a pretty fun one myself once from a few years ago. I was at a friend's place with a lot of people I did not really know too well, having a few beers. Suddenly this dude from across the table says to me, quite aggressively, that my suspenders were ugly and that they made me look like I was trying too hard, which, to be fair, I was. Without skipping a beat I stood up, unclipped my suspenders and put them in my pocket. When I sat down I looked straight into his eyes and replied, now let's talk about that face tattoo of yours. The best comeback I've heard was, you are the human equivalent of a participation award. This wasn't an insult personally, but it was a comeback on behalf of a nation. My father is Irish and he used to work in California. One day a particularly condescending colleague complimented my dad's work by saying I never thought I'd get to meet an intelligent Irishman, to which my dad replied, hopefully someday I will be as fortunate with Americans, which went completely over his colleague's head. You dress like a grandpa, that is why your mom calls me daddy. Someone once told me I look like the kind of guy who pisses sitting down. I said he looks like the kind of guy who shits standing up. I once gave a classmate a penny and told him, it always feel nice giving money to the poor. He responds with, thanks man, with this I can duck your whore ass mom and still get a change. Go duck yourself. Duck me yourself, you coward. It has been told that former French President Jacques Chirac once made the following comeback, which is legendary in France. Some dude yelled at him "connard," it means asshole, roughly, and he answered, pleased to meet you, I am Jacques Chirac. Kid in class on the spectrum somewhere knocks over a lab stool, smartass goes laughing, you knocked over your chair. Stuff like this usually sets him off. To my amazement, he replies, no, I laid it down just like I do with your mother. I gave him a high five. My former friend was 12 years my senior and she fancied herself pretty heavily. She was okay, but I doubt anyone was losing sleep over her. Dress way too young, trying to hold on to her youth. One day she pointed out that I was overweight and dumpy looking next to her. I did finally had enough. She made these comments often and I said, well, what about you? Excuse me, she snapped. I have the body of a 22-year-old. Well, give it back. You are stretching it out. My sister, when she was 13, maybe 12, she was fighting with my little brother, 3 years older than her, and he was being aggressive and mean and she clearly yells, I did call you a dick but you are so fake, you are a dildo. My mom and I were in the kitchen and my mom yells at her, go to your room. My sister goes upstairs and my mom has tears in her eyes, choking back laughter. Where did she learn that? I told everyone I knew at the time. I called it the sickest burn of all time. It is still so beautiful. From Casablanca, Lagarde, you despise me, do not you? Rick, if I ever gave you any thought I might. One from me, a kid in class was being quite homophobic about another boy who'd just came out backs to the wall and such. I sighed and said, John, none of the girls in class fancy you, why would the boys? My favorite, when I was younger, people liked to call others gay as an insult. When other kids would ask, are you gay? I think you are gay. I did simply reply, now do not you go getting your hopes up. I have read this historical meme where it went like this, British person, you, French people, fight for only money. We, British, fight for honor. French person, well, people fight for what they need the most. Today in one of my classes we were working on a project about careers, and one of the kids shouted, "I want to be a male stripper." The teacher responded, "I think you might be missing some of the qualifications for that job." I saw in another thread a long time ago busy restaurant in LA that had a lot of people waiting to be seated. Some has been celebrity played the "Don't you know who I am" card with the host, who promptly responded, "Honey, I don't know who you are, I know who you used to be." I was in a Yahoo chat room, yes, I am old, and was like 15 years old. Some guy I had been talking to for a while, and whom I had told I was 15, sent me a dick pic out of nowhere. He asked me what I thought about it. I told him my mom always told me good things come in small packages. He was not impressed. A friend of mine in first-year university had never really dated any girls yet. This dumb meathead that we were kind of friends with told him, "When you do get a girlfriend, I am totally going to duck her." He responded, "If I had a girlfriend that would duck you, her cheating on me would not be the issue." A teacher once tried making out that me and another student were gay, so I waited for the class to settle down and said, "You seem to have an obsession with gay little boys, sir." I have never seen a class kick off like it, and to this day it is one of my proudest moments. The annoying kid of the grade had a spray bottle and kept on spraying it on people even though they asked him to stop, and some girl walked to him and it went something like this: "Dude, can you stop? Nah, aw, is it the only way you can make a girl wet?" Gordon Ramsay asks his daughter on camera, "So what's it like being the daughter of the most famous chef in the world?" His daughter replies, "I wouldn't know, Jamie Oliver's not my dad." Boom, roasted. From a drill instructor to another recruit in boot camp, is that acne on your face, or did you spend 9 months dodging the clothes hanger? Alright, so it goes like this. I had a bully in high school who was tiny, like under 5 foot. I was 6 feet 3 at the time, so he would always pick on me, throw stuff at my head, push me around, stuff like that. I never fought back cause I hate violence. Anyway, one day we were in a class together and the class went on lockdown. It was not a drill, but we were told the campus was not in danger. So jokingly I said, "I know why we are locked down. Maybe the zombie apocalypse started." The bully immediately replies, "You dumbass, zombies are not real." I shot back, "Yeah, well, we did not think hobbits were real, but you're standing here are not you." He lunged at me and got in trouble. Edit: I should mention too that this kid later apologized to me and I completely forgave him for everything he did. Lots of talk of beating people up in the comments. Breed love, not hate boys and girls. Someone once told me I had a face only a mother could love. I responded with, "Yes, your mother." Private Hudson: Hey Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man? Private Vasquez number: have you? My dear grandmother, she had a quick and savage wit. My fiancé and I held a meet the whole family get together at my house. It was the first time his father met my grandmother. His dad was a large, physically intimidating man with a beer gut. He began telling stories to my grandmother about how my fiancé was a mischief maker when he was young, then told my grandmother how he would take off his belt and whip Joe for being bad. My frail little grandmother stares directly at my hubby's dad's tummy and says, "Your belt, however could you find it?" Future father-in-law was gobsmacked. My science teacher assigned a really hard test and almost everyone failed. Everyone complained and she responded with, "Someone got a 93%, so it's not impossible." Then this one kid in the back said, "The answer key doesn't count, Mrs. Teacher." A neighborhood kid was picking on my daughter, and she replied with, "I am sorry you are so sad." Kid just walked away. Not quite an insult, but I still think of this comeback to this day. I have 2 little brothers and it was my dad's birthday, so the semi-extended family were all at a restaurant to celebrate. I had just graduated from my dad's alma mater, and my middle brother was currently a junior there. My youngest brother, a freshman, however, opted to go to state school. At one point my uncle said, "So youngest brother, how does your dad feel about you breaking the trend of our last name men going to alma mater?" My little bro thought for a moment and then said, "Well, He probably does not mind considering I also broke the trend of not being able to get higher than a 3-0. The table exploded and my other brother and I just stared at each other across the table like holy duck, did we just get brutally murderer? It is especially funny because my little bro was one of those shy high school kids who went off to college and came back fun and socially confident. I was hoping that development would happen. I just never expected it to stab me in the ducking face. In 8th grade this kid yelled in the cramped hallway, "Hurry up and move, why all smell like ass?" To which I replied, "Excuse, your mouth is too close to your nose." And my junior year of high school this huge girl called me an asswipe for no reason. So I said, "You are just mad I can actually wipe my ass." I've been called much worse by people much better. Who the duck are you? I am the guy who does his job, you must be the other guy. When I was in middle school many years ago, a bully was teasing an awkward kid about not being able to get girls and being gay and never being able to get laid. Another bully spoke up to the first bully and said, "Bitch, you ain't had pussy since pussy had you," and the entire class and the teacher started laughing. The original bully shut up. Lunch lady got me in front my whole class. Tuna fish was for lunch. I said tuna fish, I did rather a shit sandwich. Without missing a beat this 80-year-old lady fires back, "Wait right there, I can make you one in the back." Needless to say, I went with the tuna. I do not go down to the docks and take sailors' dicks out of your mouth, so why do you hassle me at work? Does your ass ever get jealous of the shit that comes out of your mouth? Sitting in a bar at 3 a.m. off of Bourbon Street, the windows are just open shutters. Dude who just left the bar leans in on our table to shout at some friends still in the bar. One of our group makes a silly snide comment. Dude leaning and smacks the table with an open palm and says, "Everybody who ever loved you was wrong." Then he walks away without looking back. We still revel in that story. Just out of curiosity as to how good this actually was, for years, I was told that my sort of comeback was the best thing that anybody had ever heard, mostly because I was the quiet kid that nobody could get a rise out of. Naturally, because they could not get a rise out of me, everybody tried to get me flustered by insulting me, or framing me for things that no teacher ever believed because I was never the quiet kid. Essentially, I walked into class one day, and the teacher was not there, but this other girl, S, was up at the whiteboard writing out a long-running joke about our teacher that pissed him off. It was about his assigned teacher number. And 2 years of developing a joke is a bit hard to explain. It became a bit of an inside joke. Either way, I sat down, she finished, and the teacher came in. Noticing what was written on the board, he asked who did it, and immediately, this girl and a few of the girls around her said, "So Baron did it." Note, we were about 15 at the time, so they should have been beyond this. I do not know what it was, but something made me wordlessly walk up to the board, fix her spelling and punctuation errors, and then sit down. Only when I had sat down did I turn to the girl who had done it to say, "I have standards." The class collectively lost their shit, including the girls who had not seen it coming, and the teacher laughed so hard he went red in the face and cried. To me, it seems like they just found it so funny because it was me, because I do not see anything particularly special or savage about it. Mi rispetta mulak, a nika razo keuno su tu pai pork tu amieno tinatrico brat 20, which roughly means show some respect, boy. The only reason I am not your dad is because your mom did not have change for it. 20. 1. Everyone thinks you're an asshole. 2. Well, you know what everyone thinks about you. Nothing. No one ever thinks about you. I know I do not. A street hustler is trying to hand out sell CDs and an overweight gentleman walks by and says no thanks. Hustler, if it was a donut, you'd eat it. Tubby, if it was $1, you'd beg for it. Random kid, I bet you cannot see your penis in the shower. My friend, nope, only your mom's head. Yes, I know this comeback was taken from somewhere, but that does not make it worse. I was at a Jets home game back when the Giants and them shared Giants Stadium. Someone wearing a Jets jersey says to someone wearing a Miami Dolphins uniform, "This is our house, dude, in Miami Dolphins uniform you are in Giants Stadium, asshole." Lost my shit after that one. Edit: the stadium is called MetLife Stadium now. A long time ago, when mom jokes were the vogue in my early 20s and the late 90s, and before I realized that courage was not just some level of manliness, I was telling a friend that they really needed to man up and tell someone the truth. I looked over and said, "Dude, do not make me punch you where your balls are supposed to be," all implying that indeed he was in fact ballless. Without dropping a beat, my friend just laid this one out there: "Dude, you are gonna punch your mom in the mouth." Touché, touché. Was once criticized by an older family member for having a stray tooth that gave me a bit of a craggy smile. As an adolescent, it has settled in nicely. I was raised to not criticize what people cannot help and to give compliments where possible, and so I did just that, sorta. "Aunt, nice crocodile smile." "Me thanks, Aunt, it is just that tooth, you know, makes your smile all crooked, but it is not that bad. You could get it fixed." "Me, I suppose, but I know I will never have teeth as nice as yours are. They are like stars." "And like stars, you mean as in bright?" "Me, no, as in they come out at night." My uncle had given me a book called 1001 Insults for Every Occasion a while earlier, and that gem was in it. I was in Paris with a couple of friends, and in the subway, I did not speak any French, only a little Spanish, but my friend was practically fluent. We were talking and joking in English, and these two French women were talking shit about us in French, mostly about us being gross or dumb Americans. As we left the subway, my friend smiled and told them in perfect French, "We are going to go get cleaned up. Too bad there is no shower for your personality." Patting myself on the back for this one. I was helping a kid in class and big bully kid said I am a nerd for helping. Told him, "Well, at least I am graduating." Whole class went too. Thought I had to fight the guy after, so I watched my back the rest of the day. He didn't graduate, got caught with drugs and spent a few years in jail. Not really an insult. My boss and I were trimming bird nails' wings. I reached for the nail clipper and they would not open. I grabbed the scissors and they fell apart. Finally the register froze when I entered my password to charge the customer. My boss says, "Damn girl, just killing everything you touched today, huh?" I looked at him, smiled, and touched him smack on the forehead. Boop. The customer watching laughed so hard my boss got spooked and lost his grip on the bird. Crotchety old bat from my grandparents' church. "Why cannot you be more like Michael? He is such an angel." Me, a 15-year-old intellectual who knew Michael did things that would straighten the perm out of her hair. "If you had actually read the Bible, you had know Satan was an angel too." Back in the 90s, when being called gay was still considered an insult, Buddy 1: "Hey, Chris, I heard you got caught calling gay phone sex again." Buddy 2: "Yeah, I was calling her dad. Kind of a murder-suicide, but it was hilarious. I managed to have the chance to use it a few years later. The guy's dad was gay." Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.